Chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind, and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now your loins like a man, for I will demand of you, and declare you unto me. Where wast you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if you have the understanding. Who determined the measures thereof, if you knowest? Or who stretched the line upon it? Whereon were the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors, when it broke forth and issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and the thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and prescribed for it my decree, and set bars and doors, and said, Thus far shalt you come, but no further, and here shall your proud ways be stayed. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dayspring to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and that the wicked be shaken out of it? It is changed as clay under the seal, and they stand as a garment. But from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm is broken. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or have you walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed unto you, or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you surveyed unto the breadths of the earth? Declare if you knowest it all. Where is the way of the dwelling of light? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That you shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that you shouldest know the pass to the house thereof. You knowest it, for you wast then born, and the number of your days is great. Hast you entered the treasuries of the snow, and have you seen the treasuries of the hell, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, or the east wind scattered upon the earth? Who hath cleft a channel for the water flood, or a way for the lightning of the thunder, to cause it to rain on a land where no man is, on the wilderness wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth? Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoar frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are congealed like stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Can you lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season, or canst you guide the bear with her sons? Knowest you the ordinances of the heavens? Can you establish the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst you lift up your voice to the clouds, that the abundance of waters may cover you? Canst you send forth lightnings, that they may go and say unto you, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the mind? Who can number the clouds by wisdom, or who can pour out the bottles of heaven? When the dust runneth into a mass, and the clods cleave fast together, wilt you hunt the prey of the lioness, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions? When they couch in their dens, and abide in the covert to lie in wait? Who provideth for the raven his prey, when his young ones cry unto God, and wander for lack of food? All right, let's go back up in verse 1. Now, yesterday, in the last chapter, Elihu had finished his speaking. And Elihu, we can say he, just like all the rest of them, he has come against Job. He's accusing Job of kind of being somebody who just don't think about everything. And he's asking him, do you know who God is, Job? Do you know, have you considered these things? Of course, Job's made it plain that he there's nothing that they know that he doesn't know. He's considered all these things. He's a man. He has a mind to think for himself. He doesn't have to have anybody tell him what is and what ain't. But we're going to find out. The Lord's going to speak now to Job, and that's where we're going to pick it up here in verse 1. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said. Now the Lord's going to answer Job, and this word Lord here is we'll just say it's the existing one. It is God himself. It's the holy name. And he answered Job out of the whirlwind, or out of all this confusion, this whirlings of wind, this twirling that's going around and around and around this wind, these times, these periods, it's all the same thing. That which bloweth, that which, all this confusion. We can look at it like that way. He's going to answer this one that's hated, this one that's being browbeaten, too. Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Who is this? Who are these that sit there and they darken counsel? In other words, they shedding light to any type of understanding or consolement. These words without knowledge, these words that they speak without really thinking what they're doing. They just speak off. It's to make one appear they have wisdom, or they have understanding or knowledge in some way. True understanding is to be able to hear the law. Knowledge is that which comes from it, and wisdom is the ability to use it and discern rightfully. But we're going to find out. These are just men sitting around, and they've all got their own. They've got their own opinion, we should say. 3. Gird up now your loins like a man, for I will demand of you, and declare you unto me. But God says, gird up now. Gird up your loins like a man, and that's just like that which descends. And gird it up, grab a hold of it, for God's going to demand. He's going to want some answers now. And if you've got some understanding, you can declare these things unto me. 4. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare it if you have the understanding. God says to Job, now where was you when I laid the foundations of the earth? When I set these things, all the things that are earth, in order, so to speak, when placed them in their place, put them in their perspective, give them their understanding, where were you? 5. Who determined the measures thereof, if you know? Or who stretched the line upon it? Who determined the measurements? Do you know? Do you know who decided that this earth would be this size, Mars would be that size, Saturn would be that, Jupiter this? Who determined all the size of all the heavens and all the understandings that are above us? Who set the limits, the guidelines? Who stretched the line upon it, determined the position, set the degree of it, set the angle, we'll find out, the corner. 6. Whereon were the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? Whereon? What's it all anchored to? What gives it its structure? How is it held together? Who laid the cornerstone thereof it? Who determined it starts from here? Who said we'll go this way from here or that way from there? See, God did. 7. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. And when these morning stars, all those lights of heaven, all these things that sang together, when they were all united, when it was all but one, see, when it was all one, and all those things that come forth from God, all the sons of God, these things that were born from God, they all shouted for joy, and they were all with in this. It's a shout out. It's like an alarm. It's like a warning, even when all these things that were brought together, all these things that were united, we'll find out, shouted. 8. Or who shut up the sea with doors, and when it broke forth and issued out of the womb? Who shut up the sea with the doors? Who shut up the sea? The sea's all the waters on the earth. Who set them in their limits? Who shut the doors of the waters when they broke forth out of the womb, or that place where they was born from, when the waters were pouring in? And who set the boundaries thereof? 9. When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it. When God made the cloud, the garment thereof, this that he clothes the waters with, he holds the waters with, he hides the waters within, with the clouds, this confusion. The thick darkness This thick darkness is like that which is unknown. We can't see these things. And he give it for a swaddling band, or that which comforts it, that which goes it around, and we'll find out. So it can pour out. It can pour out from time to time, 10, and prescribe for it my decree, and set bars and doors, and prescribe for it my decree, put my ordinance upon it, set my limitations upon it, said it, this is it. Set bars and doors, limits, laws, rules, a place for it to go in and out. 11, and said, thus far shalt you come, but no further, and here shall your proud waves be stayed. And God did say, thus far shalt you come, and that was the limit, but no further. And he stayed the waters, the proud waves, these waves, that which the sea causes. The waters, the waves, they dash against the earth, they dash against the land, but we'll find out they can't prevail against it. 12. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the day spring to know its place? Have you commanded the morning since your days began, since you was born, since your understandings, since you got your understanding, have you took hold of the days? Said this, the morning will come there, here will be the morning. Have you set these things in order? Have you caused the day spring to know its place? The morning, that's the morning. The light that's coming forth. Have you give it a place, set it in its ordinance, established it, brought the circle around, hooked the ends together, so to speak? 13, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? That it might take hold of the ends of the earth, the ends of all those things that are flesh. For an example, it's for an example, see, that the wicked should be shaken out of it, because the morning does come forth, see, and that brings the light, so we can see that which has happened in the night, that which has happened during the darkness. But this, even to the end of time. 14. It is changed as clay under the seal, and they stand as a garment. It's changed as the clay under the seal. This and just like a piece of clay that was used to make a seal, and the ring was pressed into it. That clay that was just clay, see, it was just a spot of clay, is now a signet, a seal, something that marks, something that sets in order and makes known, and they stand as a garment. They stand as something to be worn, something to cover, something to put on. Light and darkness. 15. But from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm is broken. But from the wicked, and that's the darkness, that's the negative. See, the positive would be the righteous, the negative would be the wicked. Their light is withheld. They don't have the understanding, the light, that which brings forth in the darkness. We'll find out. That's those of darkness, the negative. And the high arm is broken. Their great ability, their great strength, it's broken. They don't, because they brought into the lower. They're in the lower understanding. That's the place of death. 16. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or have you walked in the recesses of the deep? Have you entered into the springs of the sea, these places where the water comes forth from, for the oceans, these seas? Have you walked in the recesses of the deep? These seas are all the understandings upon the earth. Where do they come from? Are they poured out from? Have you walked in the recesses of the deep, the darkness of the waters, the depths that are unknown, to walk there in all these understandings? 17. Have the gates of death been revealed unto you? Or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have the gates of death been revealed? Gate is always a place of judgment. Have the judgments of death been revealed unto you? Do you know what gets you condemned to death? What causes this? What is that judgment of death? Who gives it? Or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? These gates, that's the judgment place for where the shadow of death resides. The shadow of death is the shadow, that's that which blocks the light or the understanding of it. See, that light that comes forth is life. That's from God. The shadow of death, that's to be in that which shadows the understanding of God. What is that that shadows? 18. Have you surveyed unto the breadth of the earth? Declare, if you knowest it all. Have you surveyed unto the expanses of the earth? Do you know the measurement of it? Have you went around it and surveyed it all out and know the measurement to be exact? Declare it, if you knowest it all. Well, if you have all the answers, someone should share them. 19. Where is the way to the dwelling of light? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? Where is the way to the dwellings of light? Where does light live? Where does understanding come forth from? Where is the place of darkness? Where does it reside? That's the negative energy. Where is its place at? 20. That you should take it to the bound thereof, and that you should know the paths to the house thereof. That you should be able to take it to the bounds thereof, know the limits of the darkness, know the limits of understanding. That you should know the paths, the way it travels, how it goes, and what it does. 21. You knowest it, for you was then born, and the number of your days is great. You know, do you know it? Do you have understanding? For was you born then? Was you alive then? Or did you just get here? Was the numbers of your days that great? Are you going to live that long? Have you been alive that long? Do you have that much understanding? 22. Have you entered the treasuries of snow, and have you seen the treasuries of the hail? Do you know where the treasuries are bound up of snow? This purity, this that God causes the rest by. Have you seen the treasuries of the hail? These stones of ice, these things, and well, that's the kind of like the opposite of rain. See, when rain comes down, it's viewed as a pleasant. It's like understanding, but this hail, that's where the rain's froze. It's made hard. It's like a stone. It's brought down in anger, wrath. See, that's wrath from the understanding. 23. Which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war, which I have reserved. I've held back. I've got it stored up. I'm waiting for this time of trouble, this period of punishment, when God causes rest, when God brings judgment. And it's that day of battle and war. That day, and it's even that understanding of that battle and that war where God finally, enough's enough. 24. By what way is the light parted, or the east wind scattered upon the earth? By what way? How is it done? What is the separation between light and darkness? How is it done? Or the east wind scattered, that which gives light. That east is always that way from where the understanding comes from. How is it scattered upon the earth? That wind that blows opposite of the way things are, it seems. 25. Who has cleft a channel for the water flood, or a way for the lightning of the thunder? Who hath cleft a channel? Who has made a way for the floods of water? Who set the rivers in their courses? Who brought the waters by the way they come? Or a way for the lightning of thunder? Who made a way for the lightning and the sound of thunder? These judgments that go forth in we'll find out the understanding that comes from them, the echoing of God's judgments. 26. To cause it to rain on a land wherein no man is, on a wilderness wherein there is no man, and causes it to rain on a land where there's no man is. So it's not done for man. See, it's not done for man. See, there's a lot of other things alive on this earth besides just man and man's knowledge and man's understanding. There's a lot of other things going on here. It's a lot bigger than just you. It's on a wilderness. The wilderness is a place where the words drive out. And those words they drive out, that's man. See, there is wherein there is no man. There's no man there. So these words have driven him out. 27. To satisfy the desolate and waste ground, to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth. And the rains to satisfy that desolate, that waste ground, that earth that has nothing, that will find it's dried up. God did that. To cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth. But God does it to make an example, to show you it's hidden within. It looks desolate, it looks barren, it looks dry. But a little rain, a little understanding comes forth, and there springs forth the herb. God uses it all. It's all for God's understanding. 28. Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Does the rain got a father? Does the rain have one who gives, who genders it, brings it forth? Or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Where do they come from? Who give birth to them? 29. Out of whose womb came the ice and the hoar frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? Out of whose womb came the ice? Where was it born from? Was the ice born from? How did it get its course? We'll find. And the hoar frost of heaven, the hoary frost, or this white frost, that it's frozen over. These things of heaven, these greater understandings even, or that are above us. Where did the great freeze or the great ice come from? Who hath gendered it? Who hath made it? Who created it? 30. The waters are congealed like stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. This place where the waters, all the understandings, this that is descended from God, they are congealed like stone. They're frozen, hard as a rock. Just the glaciers, all this of north, all this of the far south at the poles. And the face of the deep is frozen. Even where the waters of the deep, even the ocean meets this, it's frozen. 31. Can you bind the chains of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion? Can you bind the chains, these things that link together? Pleiades. Pleiades is these things that are stored up. It's the ornaments. And what we're talking about are these constellations in heaven. Can you loose the bands of Orion? Orion is a constellation easily recognized, Orion. But but what Orion is it's the simpletons. It's actually ignorance, because that's what watching the heavens are, looking to the stars and all this. We'll find out. God did that. He created that for their mystery. 32. Can you lead forth the Masara, or their season? Or canst you guide the bear with her son? This Masara. This Matzara, or the Matzara, is these periods of the heavens, these constellations in their order, in their season, as they go through time. We find that there is an order of the heavens, because we'll find they're set in their place. Can you guide the bear with her sons? This bear is Ait. I think we've discussed this before. These are those that gather in strength. That's what a bear is. A bear is the constellations. And it's the use of the constellations, these things that gather together, and that's what they do. We'll find out it's all the constellations in their courses. 33. Know you the ordinances of the heavens? Can you establish the dominion thereof in the earth? Do you know the ordinances of the heavens, all these things, the circuits, what they mean, what it's for? Can you establish the dominion thereof in the earth? Can you tell me what it's all got to do with the earth? Do you have that much understanding? What do all these constellations have to do with the earth itself, and the earth and all things therein it? Can you establish its dominion, its place of rule over the earth? God did. 34. Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover you? Can you lift up your voice to the clouds? Can you look up to the clouds and just say, cover me, hide me therein? These clouds, all the confusion, where the abundance of waters is stored up. That's waters is all the understanding that's held in the confusion. Can you say to them, cover me, hide me there? 35. Can you send forth lightnings, that they may go and say unto you, here we are? Can you send forth the lightnings? These lightnings, these little flashes of understanding, these flashes of judgment that go forth. And they say, here we are, we do what you say. 36. Who hath put wisdom in the inward part? Or who hath given understanding to the mind? Who put the wisdom there in the beginning? Who put the understanding there in the beginning? That ability to grasp, that ability to reach for, ability to strive, to comprehend, to understand. Who give understanding to the mind? Who says this is understanding? Who says this is knowledge? Who says this is wisdom? 37. Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Or who can pour out the bottles of heaven? Who can number all the clouds by wisdom, with some type of knowledge? Who can tell me all the confusions of the earth? Who can pour out the bottles of heaven, these things that contain all the greater understandings? 38. When the dust runs into a mass and the clouds cleave fast together, when the dust runs into a mass and the clouds are cleaved together, it's a drought. There's no water, and it's dried up, and it's becoming hard as rock, the dust even. The clouds are holding fast together. 39. Will you hunt the prey for the lioness, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions? Well, now you hunt the prey for the lioness when there's a drought and there's no water and things are dying. Are you the one who gives the lioness that which she feeds her prey with? These are those that tear. These are ripped. She teaches them to hunt. 40. When they couch in their dens and abide in the covert to lie in wait. And when they couch in their dens, or when they lay, and they abide in their hiding places, and they lay in wait for the prey. 41. Who provides for the raven his prey, when his young ones cry unto God and wander for lack of food? Who provides for the raven? The raven has been looked at through time as this bird. It's that one of darkness. It's the one, they go out of the wind and they never return. It's that wanderer. It's that traveler. It's that one who goes against. See, he's a bird of prey. He's a one who feeds on a carcass. He hunts. He looks for anything. Who's going to provide for him his prey? Who's going to give to him his prey? That one who has the shadow under the wings. When his young ones cry unto God, when there's nothing to eat, when it's dried up and there's no food, and they're wandering for lack, who feeds the fowl of heaven? We'll find out. God does. God made the way. God made the circuit. God set it all in. It's all for God's understanding. Anyway, we're going to move forward to chapter 39. Turn and return.